So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. Hey, I just want to let's go to Genesis. Let's get it started. Um, it's a great day. I'm excited about this message. There's a lot of revelation coming forth, and I hope you feel the same way after we read His Word. Let's go to Genesis. We're gonna start in the beginning, and we're gonna start at Genesis 1. We're gonna start there. Now, we're really talking about the whole um, first chapter. I don't know if I'm gonna read it all because it may be a lot, but I may need to do that just to get through. So, but it's okay. How about that? It's okay. Um, let's start in the beginning. In the beginning, Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw that the light was good. And he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, first day. And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the waters above it. We're talking about separating the waters from heaven and the waters from the earth. He's creating the sky. The vault in this verse here, we're talking about the sky. God separated heaven and the waters from heaven and the earth, and it was so. God called the vault sky. There was evening and there was morning the second day. And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered into one place, and let the dry ground appear." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. 11. Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds." And it was so. The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. It was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years." This is where we created time. Correct. Time was created on the fourth day. "And let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth." And it was so. God made two great lights, the greater to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God said that it was good. And God said, "Let the waters teem with living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky." And I'm going to skip down and it said, God said it was good. I'm going somewhere with this. I know I'm reading a lot. I'm going somewhere with this. Let's drop down to 24. And God said, "Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds." We skip down and he said, it was good. Let's go down to 26. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our own image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." 27. So God created mankind in his own image. And we're going to go down to 28. And it said, God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it." God blessed them. And we'll go down to 29. The end of 29 said, and it was so. And 31 says, it was very good. I know I jumped around. I hope you got the premise. But my topic of this discussion today is, are you good? Maintenance is required, but are you good? Um, lot of verse, um, but it this spoke to me this week as we're talking about creation and we're talking about maintenance required and we're talking about are you good? You know, we hear that term all the time. You know, I use it all the time. You know, when I greet somebody, say, you good? You know, you good. And I think what God is telling me to convey today is how we need to rethink. And the next time that you hear somebody ask you, are you good? Or they say, you good? You know, let's meditate on that question. Uh, we know, and I've used it many times, the scripture out of Jeremiah, when God said He created you and He created you before you were in your mother's womb, meaning you were already designated. He had already created you, just like He created everything that we just saw Him create in Genesis. He created and He saw that it was good. When God creates something, He created it to be good. It was good when He created it. Hear me. When He created you, He saw that you were good. I don't want us to doubt that. I need to implant that in our minds because all the words that we're going to be talking about and the things that we're going to be discussing in this today's discussion is talking about, are you good? Now, mind you, with the caveat that you were good when He created you, but there's maintenance required. Okay. Um, I was in a group meeting, men's meeting, a week or two ago, and great discussion. And these meetings is always when you get like-minded individuals that are thirsty for the word. There's a lot of discussions that's created. There's a lot of iron sharpening iron in these meetings, and you know, and with men, and those of us that are men that have been in groups, we have different challenges than our female counterparts and our children, you know, and we talk about men stuff. And, we went around a table after discussion, great discussion, and um, we went around a table to get insight on everything that was talked about. And I was one of the last to have to impart. And my discussion or my part in that discussion, what I heard God saying is that maintenance is required. I created you to be good, but you have to do something to maintain what is good. You can't just be brought into this world, nor could He just create the heavens and the earth and the moon and the stars and all these things that He put in place. And He said, look, I've created all these things for you to be fruitful and multiply. The intent was for us to maintain it, to do good by it. Hear me? To make it better, to make it very good. You heard me in discussions past, talk about vehicles and me purchased a new vehicle, and it was great. When you get a new vehicle or anything new, whether it be a home, whether it be a vehicle, whether it be an article of clothing, whatever that is, it's only as good as you make it. It's only as good as you maintain it. Hear me. Maintenance is required. Maintenance is required. Um, your home. You can have a home built from the ground up. But like with anything, the elements, the surroundings is geared towards deteriorating what was once new. It's inevitable that over time, water is going to damage your new home. The change in season, the change in climate is going to damage what was once new. You're going to have to eventually get a roof replaced in 15 or 20 years. You're going to have to paint your trim, that the sun has been baking and the weather has been freezing and thawing, you're going to get cracked paint. You're going to have to scrape it. You're going to have to paint it. You're going to have to cut your grass. You sooner or later, you're going to have to replace some flooring because it's going to get worn. Maintenance is required. Just because you bought it new doesn't mean it stays new without there being some intent to make it better. You have to manage it. Same thing with my car. We were talking about my new vehicle. There's certain things that I'm putting in place. Why? Not just because I want it to look good now, but I want it to continue to look good. I want it to always be good to the best of my ability. And keeping it the way and managing what he's given me, my job is to maintain what he's given me. Hear me. My job is to be fruitful and multiply, make it better. Hear me. You can't just live. So God created you. He created you to be the best that you could be. There is nobody on this planet like you. But what are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? You know, there's a scripture that says the poor will be with us always. And the revelation that I've gotten in recent days, I've come to realize, whether I knew it or not, is we're not just talking about financial. We're talking about financial blessing, meaning poor. We're not talking about a financial status. When we're talking about the poor will be with us always. You can be poor in mind. You can be poor in spirit. You can be poor. Get what I'm saying? You're poor, meaning if you're not taking and utilizing and putting to work what he's given you, it could be because you have a poor mentality. Where am I going with that? Be clear, man of God. Okay. We talked about the parables of talents. And we know talents is not just about money. Once again, we're not just talking about money. We're talking about what are you doing with what he's given you? Are you just burying it, and doing nothing with it? Meaning, how many of us are struggling in our finances, are struggling with our family because we're not utilizing what he's already given us? I wrote a couple things down. Only the Creator can decide when something is very good or finished, because only he knows what the intent was when he created you. Only the Creator knows what the intent was when he created you. Meaning, he created you and given you the tools that you needed to be fruitful and multiply. You. Not just for everybody, but he gave you a specific tool. Whatever you're good at, and whatever he's given you, your job is to take that and not just let it sit. It was new when he gave it to you. But if you don't do things to nurture it, nurturing, if you don't do something to protect it and make it multiply, as we said, it's going to deteriorate. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Hear me? So when we talk about being fruitful and multiply, when we talked about the poor will be with us always, we're looking at, okay, I've given you something, but it's your choice whether or not you're going to do something with it. If you struggle with a poor mentality, hear me, God didn't give us a poor mentality. We chose a poor mentality, or we choose it. If we're not going to take what he's given us and make it fruitful and multiply, we can create our own lack. We create that mentality creates a financial poorness, but that financial poorness was preceded by a mental and a spiritual poorness. I hope I'm making sense. You have to take what he's given you and make it do what it was created to do. In Matthew, there was a point where Jesus was walking and he cursed the fig tree. He cursed the fig tree because he went to get fruit from it and it didn't produce what it was created to produce. Hear me. Hear me. Are you cursed because you're not producing what you were created to produce? Do you have lack in your life because you're not producing what you were created to produce? Once God sees that it was good, there's an expectation put on it. I'm going to repeat that. Once God saw that it was good, there was an expectation expected. There was an expectation. You are expected to produce what you were created to produce with the tools that he gave you. Now, he's not asking you to do something with something that you don't have the capabilities to do. He's not asking you to make brick without straw. When God blesses you, it's his stamp of approval. We've had many, you get a new package nowadays, and you can see that in this inspector by Inspector 41, because he stamped and said, at this date and time when I created it, when I sent this out, it was good. It meets the standards that we've set. Once God has stamped you, there's an expectation. That makes sense? I've got, you know, I've got a series or a idea coming forth, and you'll be a part of it. You'll be able to see it, but it's all set around a discussion around generations, 2 or 3 generations sitting around a table, shining shoes. And the premise and the thought behind this creation that God gave me was taking something and making it better than it was. Now, we just look at, and I've been enlightened, and it's been game changing for me. Not just from an aesthetic purpose and, me liking shoes and me liking the dress, but I was very content with going and buying a new pair of shoes. You hear me? And even in my love for shoes, accepting it for what it was. But what I've learned is that even that new pair of shoes can be something different. So the whole goal is in this conversation, in this discussion, in this event that is coming forth, the whole goal is by bringing a new pair of shoes and having a discussion as we're talking about life and what our expectation is, but taking this, what our expectations are, and the roadblocks and the things that are put in front of us to stop us from getting to where we, or being all that we can be, from generation to generation. But taking a pair of shoes and shining it, and shining it, and nurturing it, and putting protectant on it, and add another gloss on it to make it better than what it was, because the shoe was good when I received it, but the goal, when it's all said and done, is for it to be very good. Hear me. You may go buy a brand new pair of shoes. I've been accustomed to going buying a brand new pair of shoes and then being satisfied with it because it was a brand new pair of shoes and it was good. But if you don't maintain that pair of shoes, it will deteriorate. It's going to deteriorate. It's not going to look new anymore. But also, there's another level to just making it, maintaining it. The whole goal is to make it better, to make it very good. To take a pair of shoes that was brand new and make it exceed what it was designed to do. I hope this is making sense to somebody today. It blessed me when I heard it. And once again, it has to bless me before I can bless you. I have to hear it before I can communicate it. So my goal is to, when I hear, is to activate it. When you know better, you do better. When you know good, you do good. Make sense? Are you good? Gotta ask yourself, are you good? Are you achieving what you were created to achieve? Are you the blessing that you're supposed to be? Are you being fruitful and multiplying? Everything that God put in the earth that he saw was good and that he blessed, the expectation and the command was for it to be fruitful and multiply. Are you good? We talk.